Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Fast Break here live on IE Sports Radio. With tonight's episode, we discuss the WNBA Finals, Game 3. Did Liberty do enough to turn the momentum in their favor? Or is it Vegas' series to lose? Plus, we preview our NBA. We continue our NBA preview series with the Central Division. That means the Bucks, Bulls, Pacers, Pistons, and Cavs. Is there a title contender within this division? We'll discuss that. Plus, we'll go over NBA preseason scores and news and wherever else that comes about. But this is Fast Break, live on IA Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here. Another Sunday is here, closing in on the books. I had to wake up early, watch my Titans lose. And D-Lock, I know this 30 minutes ago that the Bucks went down to Detroit. But how you doing tonight, sir, on this fine Sunday? Let's see. D-Lock, are you there? Let's see. Hang on just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure everything's good on my side. This be on the safe side. Okay, we're good on my end. Let's see. Let me bring it back real quick. Hang on one second, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, before I bring back in, we previewed the Central Division tonight. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, good. We on live?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're live, baby. We're live.
How's everybody doing? You usually ask me how's everything going. I just experienced a tough loss with my Bucks, but basketball is definitely coming around, so I'm still excited about that.
And basketball it is, and in the midst of, teams losing and stuff like that in the NFL, we got the WNBA Finals to talk about. Game 3 happened this afternoon in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, when the New York Liberty taking on the Las Vegas Aces, with the Liberty winning in double digits, 87-73. With a big night big afternoon, from let me just get it right. Jonquel Jones down low. She had a big monster game down low with 27 points, 8 rebounds, 4 for 7 for 3-point land for her. Brianna Stewart, 20 points, 12 rebounds for her. She had some nice post-up shots, turnarounds down low late in that game. Not late in the game, but more in the third quarter for her. Sabrina, 9 points for her, 11 assists, 3 rebounds. I'll get to more of her in a second. For the Aces side of things, Kelsey Plum had a strong game. 29 points for her. But anybody else from the Aces really didn't show up. Asia Wilson, 16 points, 11 rebounds. 4 for 16 from the floor for her. Really quiet day for her, in a sense. Chelsea Gray had 11 points, but she went out with the injury, and I think it's very, very doubtful she'd be playing again in this series. The injury she suffered, the ankle issue or leg injury, was very. It didn't look good if y'all watched that game. But 11 points for her in 34 minutes. So, D-Lock, I'll bring it to you. The Liberty stayed off elimination. They had momentum in that game. New York was hitting 3-pointers, getting open looks. What do you take away from this game 3, this afternoon between the Liberty and Aces?
Well, you definitely seen the Liberty come to play on the defensive side. That was very key. Like you said, Jacqueline Jones, she played very well today, but she followed up her game 2 with another outstanding performance. I think that, Stewart coming around, playing well, also helped. So for me, if they can continue this is going to be pretty interesting. At this point, they were at a win now situation to where they were down 2-0. So they needed this victory. But also the biggest thing for me is the Aces are not going to, they're not going to, the Liberty are not going to hold the Aces to 73 points that much. You're looking at some of how the shots were falling. You're looking at Aces being about 30, about 30-some% field goal percentage. I don't think that's going to happen game 4. So I think Liberty is going to have to, continue to tighten up on their defense. And they're going to have to score more than 87 points in my mind. That third quarter was a drop off for both teams, with Aces putting up 10 and Liberty putting up 18. I think Liberty is going to have to be in that 20-plus range to be competitive in game 4. So, like we both said, Jones had a hell of a game. She played well, and if they can continue to keep this up, I think that they definitely will be. They'll definitely play a huge part in game 4. But like I said, I think the Aces are going to shoot a hell of a lot better game 4. Liberty just got to be ready for it.
When I was watching this game, it's like New York, it's all hands on deck in a sense that you don't get swept at the finals and watch against your arch rival in a sense, celebrating your home court. So you got that, going for yourself. Some of your players have not played well in these finals. So it was a lot coming into the table here tonight, against the Las Vegas Aces that really smoked y'all twice, especially in game 2. I do want to shout out Jones. She played great inside and out, shot the ball very well, was very efficient. Had 3 blocks as well. Swatted the mess out of Aces, threw it out of bounds, all that good stuff. But at times, watching this game, you kind of thought that the Aces they're slow, like trying to chip away, especially in that fourth quarter. They were chipping, but then they get out of defensive position, and then they Liberty start hitting their shots. If it wasn't for Kelsey Plum and her play, I think it kind of been kind of worse. And then Chelsea Gray going down the injury did not help things at all. It kind of really deflated their morale for a little bit. And they kind of just, I'm going to say, they kind of just pack it in after that. But Sabrina, to go to Miss Sabrina on an ISQ, she has not played well in these final series. At times, she took some bad shots, especially in Game 3 today. Not good looks at times, just jacking up. I know we all know she can score and stuff like that, so that's not an issue. But it's just being a lead guard. That's fine. The scoring and the bad shot she's taking is not really helping her to get back in the groove of things. And I think if they want to win Game 4, she has to play better. And with Chelsea Gray, being out for the rest of the series, and that's like one more, wing player out the way, in a sense. Got to take advantage of that if you're the Liberty. Got to take advantage of that. So for her, I think she got to have a big game in Game 4. If she don't, then you kiss Liberty's chances to win the championship goodbye. Because, Brienne Sawyer got 20 points, but she got to continue with Asia Wilson most of the time. So in a sense, that kind of cancels, like I mentioned, like we talked about Game 1, it kind of cancels each other out in a sense. If Jones have another big game like she did today, then we're talking about a different story. But I think Becky Hammond and her coaching staff probably will come back around and try to shut her down, slow her down, and then kind of make Sabrina, hey, if y'all want to win this game, you got to do something.
Yeah, like I said, I think that this Game 4 is going to be very interesting. With the Liberty trying to even it up, I think this is that probably the most important game of the series in my mind. So Stewart is going to have to come to play, and if so, like I said, I think it's Liberty or Aces know what is at stake if they win this game. So expect this game to be probably the best game the whole series so far.
And before we move on, it's not like Liberty beat the crap out of them. Nothing like that. It's just because Vegas at the end is just like at certain points in the game, New York will make a couple big plays, kind of keep that lead extended. And you did Aces. We lost by double digits, but it didn't felt like it in a sense. We're still in the mix most part, so nothing to hang our heads down about. Yes, we lose Chelsea Gray, but still, I think they'll come out motivated in this game. You really don't want to go to a Game 5 situation in which, like I mentioned about Sabrina on this school, if she wakes up in a Game 5 situation, then you kind of wish you closed out the game in Game 3, or hell, even Game 4. They still got the advantage. Game 4 predictions. Who do you got?
For me, I think that, like I said, I think this is probably going to be the best game. I think that what's going to happen is you're probably going to have, Stewart bring her best game. But I think that the Aces win Game 4. I don't see them shooting like that moving forward. So for me, I think the Aces definitely take this next win because it just seems like, right now, Liberty are going to put up so many points that they can't get. if the Aces get back to shooting well, which I think they will, they can't hold the Aces down too long. I think the Aces will win this. And the Liberty have to continue to put up. They gotta have to score hell of a lot more. And I just don't see the Aces allowing that to happen. So I got the Aces winning.
I got the Aces as well. I don't think they want to see a game 5 and where anything goes. And plus, Chelsea Gray going out. You really don't want that game 5 scenario, and you don't have her in the mix. So you really don't want to push the game 5 in that critical situation. So I got the Aces winning. I think it'll be a close game, but I do have the Aces winning game 4, and they win go back to back as WNBA champions. Before we get started on the scores real quick around the league, the preseason action real quick, I want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Adam Karnick, our host of our Chicago show here on iSports Radio that goes live every Monday at 7 Central. Adam was a big Chicago sports fan, and we'll be discussing Bulls here momentarily. So I'm curious, what Adam got to say about his Bulls when we talk about them here in a little bit. But going around the league real quick, D-Log, today's scores. You had the Hornets beating the Thunder 117-115 in preseason play. 31 points for P.J. Washington. That fucker got the old girl pregnant and made her more famous. Damn you, P.J. But anyways, 31 points for him. 60 points for Ball. 19 for Terry Rozier. Mark Williams, 11. Brandon Miller, only 8 points for him. And then for the Thunder side of things, their main guys really didn't play tonight. Jalen Williams had 18 points, 9 rebounds for him. Wiggins had 16 points. Yeah, like I said, not a lot of their main guys played. Trey Mann off the bench, 18 points for him as well. So no Chet Holmgren, Shai Gilgeous, Giddey, in the mix for the Thunder. On the Hornets side of things, we got to bring up the Hornets real quick. Kai Jones, talented big man forward, has been released from the team. And then D-Lock, Miles Bridges is in the news again for a domestic issue with his ex-girlfriend. Story goes, D-Lock, I guess he and the new girlfriend would get into the with the old girlfriend, and they're throwing billiards at the old girlfriend's car and stuff like that. And the new girlfriend trying to fight the old girlfriend. This real ghetto stuff. What do you make of this team? I know we talked about them when we first did our series and all that, but seeing Kai Jones get released and his issues, Miles Bridges doing the same damn thing that he got him landed out of the league for a year. What do you make of this team and the psyche on this stuff?
I mean, for me, it's just a lot of shit going on. I mean, it's like there's no discipline, like there's no control, like kind of make you wonder how the franchise is being ran. Kind of doing anything they want, and knowing that these players are representing Charlotte. So I feel like that's very, very strange. The fact that all this stuff is going on, now they're trying to release players, stuff like this. It just looked very bad. And on top of that, we're not talking about just guys coming straight out of college. And some of these guys have been in the NFL for years. And we're talking about grown men. So a lot of these different things is just not good, and it looks very, very bad. So for me, I feel like there's just a sign that we talked about it as far as talking about NFL, talking about teams should be cleaning house. Yeah, Charlotte probably has to do something very similar, and they may have to happen in the front office, not just with the players, because right now you have things like this going on, and it just takes away from their job of just being a professional basketball player. So, kind of being unappreciative of being a professional basketball player. They're just doing everything else, just living, just doing shit. So it's definitely embarrassing for the NBA. Not just the Charlotte Hornets. I think this needs to get fixed, man. Something has to change because you got a lot of stuff. Too much stuff is happening at one franchise, one team. It has to be something up, in the front office. Something that is just kind of just letting happen. And on top of that, they are one of the have high expectations, in the league, and they never reach those big expectations.
Yeah, it's like we probably won't see Kevin Porter on the court this year, for obvious reasons. Bridges, you would think after missing a year's worth of pay, and think about it, if we go back to last year, but last summer, I think the Pistons were thinking about offering him a max deal, and then the domestic issue happened with the ex-girlfriend, and after that happened, no offers came nowhere, and people and teams didn't even take a fly on him just to get him. So he comes back to Charlotte on a 1-year, $7 million deal. We're in the midst of training camp preseason, and now he's pulling this type of stunt. You've got to look like this. You just got to wave the dude and cut your losses. If somebody has picked him up, fine, hey, cool, whatever. But it's got to be, like you mentioned, like a culture building somewhere. Because I got nothing against Steve Clifford, but I don't think Steve Clifford's the answer for the Hornets. And we talk about the ownership change with Michael Jordan and all that stuff. And we don't know too much about these owners in a sense, but it's just like, where's the leadership? Look at Mitch Kupchak. Where's the leadership? Where's put your foot down, stuff like that. You re-signed PJ Washington, and you kind of shade him at the press conference, saying, "Well, PJ saying all the good things he had to say," and then Mitch Kupchak kind of shade him, like, "No, you handle with no offers like that. You came back to us." So where's the leadership in this organization? LaMelo Ball, it could be like a base in NBA type of player. But I kind of dubbed on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. These dudes like the bad news bears of the NBA. If y'all never seen that movie, check it out. But if y'all haven't seen the movie, it's just like a ragtag group of children playing little league ball, and I forgot the guy's name who played the coach, but it took a while to get everybody to play on the same roof, but they did their thing, and a couple sequels happened. But that's who they remind me of. So until they get things in order, get things figured out, this team's gonna be just stuck in neutral for a while. I'll let you have the last word on this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you have those different things going on, it does not help any kind of focus, around a team. And that those off the court, as we say, things going on is a complete distraction because it'll be talked about, and obviously it gives fans and other people to talk about to distract them. But these are things that can definitely impact uh, impact the franchise. So these things got to be cleaned up big time. And these players know this stuff, man. I mean, you're literally making millions of dollars. All you're doing is making millions of dollars, and you're going to practice, and you're probably gonna do some rehab. Majority of the time you're doing things revolving around being an NBA player, a job that plenty fans would probably love to have. So just be focused on that.
Yeah,
It keeps you busy, keeps you, your head on straight. All the other stuff you don't need to really have. I mean, so a lot of extra things happening is definitely not needed. But they give that because all it takes, we talked about it with Ja Morant, you know, doing things off the court and acting this way. Like, think about how big of a distraction that was, you know. So, hell, they even spilled over with, his dad, I believe, in Shannon Sharp at a damn Lakers game. So, for me, just focus on your career. If anything, I would tell those athletes, or those basketball players, focus on that. Let everything else kind of come second or third or whatever. Because it's nothing but trouble. And with so much exposure, like your name being out there, you walk in McDonald's or play, somebody's going to see you and say something. So if you know that, little things, relationship issues, other personal issues that you have a negative reaction to is going to be exposed to everybody, a lot of fans, and it makes the NBA look terrible. So focus on being the best player you can. That's my biggest suggestion.
Yeah, but we know that's not going to happen. So, I mean, in a perfect world, yes, we want these guys to focus on basketball, work on your game, all that stuff, do your charitable work, all that good stuff. But as we've seen in pro sports, like some of these dudes got a lot of free time in their hand. And I think this is like one of the problems. We talk about Zion. When he's not playing, when he not playing, which is a lot, we see what he's been doing in his free time, all that stuff. So sometimes I think you get, especially as a league at Adam Silver, what we did with Ja Morant. Sometimes you gotta circle the wagon on things. You got to circle the wagon on things. You got a new TV deal coming up soon. So I think that's something you got to think about as a league wide whole. Right? Yeah, the Chargers ain't your most prized thing, but as the NBA as a whole, you got to sell the whole product. Guys like Kevin Porter, Miles Bridges ain't good for business. Let's be real about that. So if you're Adam Silver, you gotta circle the wagons a little bit and say, hey, you gotta tell the motherfuckers off. Tell them, hey, one more instance like this, either one of y'all, or for Kevin Porter's sake, you ain't coming back in the league. Y'all fucking gone. Y'all can go play in China, Philippines, Puerto Rico. I don't care, but you ain't playing in this league.
Right.
So that's all I gotta say about that. A situation we're gonna monitor because I'm curious if he plays in the early part of the season. Because this is a violation of his probation from an incident from last year. So do keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But turn our focus to our NBA preview series. Coincidentally, the Bucks are playing the Lakers right now on ESPN. They up 72-63 in the Lakers. Giannis got 16 points. Damian Lillard, newly acquired from Portland, 14 points for the Milwaukee Bucks. For the Lakers, 16 points for Anthony Davis so far. No LeBron tonight. 10 points for Max Christie off the bench. 11 points for D'Angelo Russell, who's been playing pretty well in this preseason. Torian Prince, 8 points. Hruchimara, 8 points as well. And Christian Wood also got the start tonight. So a really big lineup for the Lakers tonight, in a sense. So, but to the Bucks. Before we get to our preview series, D-Lock, about this game, do you think the Bucks should be more working like their depth in the guard position, like trying to find like a hidden gem in the guard position, or are you cool like campaign, Cottington, suck it up more in the minutes and stuff like that? Do you think like some of the younger guys maybe get like more playing time to get that confidence in them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it'll be good to get some guards in rotation because, going to go get a Dame, you know what you're gonna get from him. So you want to get some of these other guys in that you've added, and you want to see the different rotation that you can get. Get them in rhythm early, and that's very important. I think that if you could get them in rhythm early, you're going to need that so these guys can put things together with the Giannis and Dame. So I would believe. I think it's best that they get these guards that rotation, get them in that rhythm. Now, obviously, you want to see Dame and Giannis on the court together, so you want to see what that looks like. But with those two superstars, it's not something that you really have to see too much of in a preseason game. For me, I want to get those other guys in because superstars are going to be a superstar. With a team like this, it's going to be very important what the others do around them. I mean, we talk about the championships that we've recently seen. The Denver Nuggets. We know what Jamal Murray and Jokic was going to do. So you wanted to see what KCP, what Aaron Gordon will give them on a consistent. Their play, Michael Porter, their play was very important to adding on to guys like a Jokic and Jamal Murray. So, it's kind of similar how we looked at with the Warriors as well, and also the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron. Those guys around them, you want to see if they can be in rhythm and bring that energy. So, for me, I think the guard play, a couple other guys we'll talk about during the preview. We want to see what they look like and what they can do because with the guy that they have, they need to know if this is the team that's going to actually get them very far, or are they going to have to make some additions?
Yeah, I look. I mean, I'm looking. They seem like they're playing like their regular rotation. I mean, nothing wrong with that. And I'm pretty sure they play some of the young guys more in the second half. But I was just thinking, like, AJ Green, um, Andre Jackson, from UConn, very solid, guard for UConn. Um, Ty Washington out of Kentucky. I think there's still a little potential out of him to, be a solid NBA player. So I was thinking, like, I mean, you know what you're getting out of Damian Lillard. You know what you're getting out of Pat Connaughton. You know what you're getting out of campaign. I think those guys are set in stone where they at. Figure out what you get in the depth here to be a more complete team. You trade some of that depth away in the Drew Holiday trade on that stuff. And, not saying, getting campaigns not a bad move, but it's always some, it's like one of the sayings, like somebody better, out there. There's an upgrade there. So that's all I got to say about that. But let's hop into it, D-Lock, the Central Division here in our preview series. This division here, ladies and gentlemen, could an NBA champion be coming out of this division? The Bucks, they made a big move to get Damian Lillard while trading away a cornerstone of their franchise to help won their championship in many years in Drew Holiday. The Cleveland Cavaliers took a big swing on Donovan Mitchell last year. Kind of faltered in the playoffs very early against the Knicks. Can they make a bounce back and make a strong play better than year two of the Donovan Mitchell experience? The Chicago Bulls brought back everybody. Can they rebound after a disappointing year last year? After the year before they came out real hot? Or is the trend going backwards for the Chicago Bulls? The Indiana Pacers. Nice young depth players. Made a couple big moves in the summer. Are they a team on the rise? And the Detroit Pistons. New coach Imani Williams. But a lot of questions some of the young guys in the roster. So D-Lock, I'll let you go first. Guys in the chat, Marcus, Los Great in the chat, Mike Pat in the chat, Adam Carn in the chat. From 5 to 1. 5 being your worst, 1 being your top. Who do y'all got coming down in the Central Division? D-Lock, I'll let you go first, sir.
So within this division, you do have a few teams that can definitely compete in the playoffs, NBA Finals. I believe you had the Bulls. They were in the play-in, I believe. Cavs were in it. And playoff series, I believe, with the Knicks. And obviously Milwaukee in the playoffs. But, Giannis' injury definitely hurt them. But for me, I'll start off with my number 5 team. Very young team, the Detroit Pistons. Right now, I like how this team looks as far as the young pieces that they have. But I think they're still a year or two away from being that competitive team, even just in the East. Having Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, and James Wiseman with Marvin Bagley, this team is good with their bigs. I think that that's a good group of young bigs, and I think that they'll make a huge difference, for them moving forward. I think that if they can stay healthy, you don't need to get you now. You just got to shore up the score in the guard position if you're the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham, obviously, you know what happened with him last year, didn't play. But hopefully Asor Thompson, you got you some good guys that can do a lot for them. And I think that if they can be consistent, healthy, they can take a step, but they're just maybe a piece or just not there yet as far as group and chemistry yet. I think they will be a couple of years. I think they'll be pretty good, but this division, with the three teams that already competed in the playoffs, I don't see the Pistons just completely jumping them. But I definitely see an improvement from what we've seen last year, being the fact that Cade Cunningham was out. So I think that, like I said, Pistons, they're good with their bigs. Add you another small forward, I think they'll be, pretty solid. I got them at 5. At 4, I have the Indiana Pacers.
Ooh.
This team is, going to pay all that money for Bruce Brown, which is fine. You still got Miles Turner. They're trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen with Buddy Hield. But this team is one of those very inconsistent teams. For me,
I can see that. Yeah.
Like they're known to be. They should be very, very, very good with the guys that they have, Benedict Mather and Tyrese Halliburton. They should be very good, but this team is very inconsistent right now. Not going to get somebody like a Bruce Brown. I think that shores up the defense, the physicality, which is what they needed. Getting Obi Toppin, I don't see that as a major upgrade, but it does help the forward position a little bit. They need to figure out their rotation with Miles Turner, Jalen Smith, and Isaiah Jackson. You got these 3 centers who are very, very good, actually, when they get the minutes. But, for one, don't know if you're going to keep Miles Turner. So then Miles Turner is in, then he's out. So for me, they need to figure that shit out already. What are you going to do with Miles Turner? Are you going to keep him or not? So you can figure out if you're going to move forward with Isaiah Jackson, Jalen Smith. But otherwise, like I said, I like the guard position and having the Bruce Brown. I just feel like they're just very inconsistent right at this moment. You got your all-star in Tyrese Halliburton. Benedict Mathurin is going to make a big move forward, and just figure out what the hell's going on with Buddy Hield. So for me, I got them at 4. I see them in a lot of fast-paced, high-scoring games. I just don't see them making the playoffs, to be honest. In this division, I definitely don't see them passing the other 3 right now. Halliburton is one of the main reasons why they continue to stay in games. Getting Bruce Brown, like I said, brings that defensive presence. But I have to see more from them. They very fast paced and they lose close games. And, first Tyrese Halliburton is a good defender, then he isn't. First, Miles Turner is a shot blocker, then he ain't doing shit. So for me, I just got to see consistency from this team. If they're consistent, I think they'll be a better team in the Central Division, but not right now. I definitely don't see that, so I have them at 4. Number 3, I got the Chicago Bulls. For me, I know this team had a lot of stuff going on, especially with the big news of Lonzo Ball. But as long as they have DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, I think this team is going to be okay. I like these two together. Hell, they paid Nikola Vucevic all that damn money. Now, I think that if you get consistent play from him, the Bulls can go a hell of a lot farther. But that was a problem in Orlando. But with a player like a DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, you have some decent pieces to build around. They have to just put it together. Kobe White needs to get more minutes. I just straight like that. He needs more minutes. I think that if he can get more minutes, I think we have a better Bulls team. I like Caruso. Alex Caruso is just the fact that he's more of a defender than a shooter for this team. Me, honestly, grabbing Javon Carter wasn't a big, huge asset. Like, I kind of seen it as just a bonus pickup. Nothing extravagant. So that kind of left me, scratching my head for a minute. But, going to grab, having your pieces and DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, I think this Bulls team is still going to be competitive. Getting a Torrey Craig to help with that role, and having having Patrick Williams, this team is coming back with their similar pieces. It's just now they need to be consistent and give more, like I said, more guard play to Kobe White. If they can do that, Boots can be a hell of a lot better. You're looking at a sneaky good team. I mean, we know what Zach LaVine can do, and we damn sure know what DeMar DeRozan can do. So I think that this team is hell of a lot better, honestly, than the Pacers and the Pistons. I think that they go farther in the playoffs than they did last year. But the biggest thing is going to be health with this team as well. So I got them at 3. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
You have Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. Now, I like that. Obviously, that combination. They got to figure out what the hell's going on with Caris LeVert. Like, he could be a very good off the bench, a six-man player to me. He's another player that has a good game and then just disappeared for the next week for some reason. What happened to Jared Allen, signing Max Strus to some money was kind of a head scratcher what they gave him, but they needed a forward. They needed somebody to fill that role at the 3. So grabbing him, somewhat understanding, going to get George Niang, got a little bit longer with that. Imani Bates, I think if he can get some minutes, I think he's going to play a big part for this team. But this team goes, obviously, as far as Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland take. They can stay healthy. You get some solid play out of Caris LeVert. I think this team can be, really good, actually. You make that big trade for Donovan Mitchell, shit, lean on them a little bit more, So, and that's what we've seen a lot of teams have, is these pairing of these top players. We just seen Milwaukee do it. We see Lakers with it. We see multiple teams have their 2 stars. And for me, I think it's Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell on this team. So, for me, I think that this team is going to be better than last year, but it also depends on the play of a Caris LeVert. Evan Mobley is definitely going to take that step forward as well. It's kind of strange sometimes to me that they start him and Jared Allen at the same time. But, if it works, it works. Again, hopefully bringing in Max Strus kind of shores up their forward position, and they can feel, a hell of a lot better about having somebody there, because Isaac Okoro just wasn't doing it. Definitely wasn't doing it. So I have them at 2. And number one, without a doubt, is Milwaukee Bucks. They went and got a guard that they needed. And his name is Cameron Payne. Now they went and got Damian Lillard, which was a huge piece. Giannis letting them know that he wouldn't mind staying, but he want to know what their goal is as far as winning. And going to get a Dame, that kind of basically let them know. You're going to get a Damian Lillard. You bring and grab Malik Beasley, which I think is a heck of a pickup as well. You need Chris Middleton to stay healthy. You got your core, basically very similar core that you had when you won a championship a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You got you. You asked me earlier about guard play. With this team, should they work on that? Well, I definitely think Cameron Payne and Malik Beasley need to get as hell of a lot of minutes as they can during the preseason. Another person that they got who I really like is he get the minutes is Tata Washington. If these guys can get their minutes and play well, there'll be huge assets to the somewhat trio that they have in Dame, Chris Middleton, and Giannis. Because when it comes to their bigs and Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, I think they're fine. Brook Lopez goes on the bench and gets some rest, and Bobby Portis brings the same energy, if not better. So they're fine with that. They just need more consistent play at that guard position. And going to go get those key pieces is huge. Another person I will hope that he comes back now and plays better for them is Jay Crowder. That is that defender that, you can put on any team's best player. So, he's more of that 3-and-D guy that, he is probably going to be on the opponent's best player, on a Jason Tatum or LeBron. So, for me, I love this roster. Pat Connaughton obviously is going to be Pat Connaughton. We won't see him starting the 4 position or the 3 position that much now. But I like what this group have. They went and got Drew Timme as well, which I probably rarely see. But I think that this team has the makings of being at the NBA Finals. They got a lot of good pieces. Grabbing somebody like a Dame who can shoot from anywhere, and now you got him paired with one, basically the best player in the NBA. So now you can score anytime you want. Now you got some defense. Now you did lose a little bit with Drew Holiday, but with the few pieces that you have, I think he's shored up on the defensive side as well. So, to be honest with you, this roster is probably more talented than the roster that they won a championship with. Because, you got that same similar core, just a few more pieces added on that you replaced. So for me, I definitely like Milwaukee. I think they're one of the teams that I think they're going to be in the NBA Finals. So for me, I got the Pistons at 5, Pacers at 4, Bulls at 3, Cavs at 2, Milwaukee at 1.
Alrighty. I see in the chat that Adam Carney, he got the Bucks number 1, the Bulls number 2, the Pacers at 3, the Cavs at 4, and the Pistons at 5. Interesting, to say the least. Mr. Carney is still high on his Bulls, which we love to see here. Real quick for me, 5, I got the Pistons. I got a starting lineup of Cade Cunningham. From what I've been seeing in the preseason, they've been putting Alec Burks at the 2 spot and having Jaden Ivey out the bench. So I'll put Burks in the starting lineup, but it could change with Ivey in there. Who knows? I got the Bucks at the 2, Bogdanovich at the 3, Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart down low. With this team, can Kate Cunningham stay healthy? In the past 2 seasons, he only played 74 games combined. Last year, like you mentioned, went out after 12 games. So if this team is going to show any growth, and they're not making the playoffs, at least not this year, Kate Cunningham's got to stay healthy. And then kind of going to the question, like, is he going to be part of your future? If he can't stay healthy, then you may have to move off of him. If he goes out with another season-ending injury, you may have time to say goodbye. Cut your losses. I look at the big man situation at Detroit. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, they got a big contract extension to. James Wiseman, who they got last year for the deadline, and Marvin Bagley. Has already come out and said that Bagley and Wiseman are competing for the big man spots for the team, for the backup big. I don't know who comes out on top of that. You know, Wiseman had a good game last night, 20 and 10 off the bench. Not last night, but let me pull it up. I want to say it was. I'll pull it up. Where's it at? I did see somewhere. Anyway, but he had a good game and for the Pistons, and Bagley started but did not. So that's something to keep an eye on throughout the season between the big men. Like, if one is not playing well for the good little stretch of games, does the other guy behind him come in and take his spot? It's a fair question to ask. You know, if Isaiah still ain't playing well, do James Wiseman or Marvin Bagley come up and start for him? You know, if James Wiseman wins the backup big job, does he has a short leash? So, also with this team, you know, you got the new coach, Monty Williams. Kind of curious how he turns things around there. You know, he got like a new crop of young guys. Are they going to listen to him? Because he had DeAndre Ayton in the fold in Phoenix, and that relationship soured. So can he kind of learn from those mistakes there and try to do something new with these new crop of guys? That's a very solid question. And lastly, Bogdanovich. How long does he stay in the fold with Detroit? You got Amir Thompson, who you drafted 5th overall. He's been starting a lot of the preseason games, so I always thought it was kind of pointless to kind of re-sign Bogdanovich to that extension while your team's in the tank. So like, how soon do you move off him? And then if you try to move off him, I mean, are they going to try and ask for the farm? I think that's one reason why he didn't get traded this past offseason, or trade deadline. They were asking too much for him. Kind of what's going on with the Clippers and James Harden. Moore is kind of playing himself. We'll talk about the Clippers next week. But I think, sometimes these teams kind of overshoot themselves. And I know we've talked about the Rudy Gobert situation before that trade. But, I think that was just once in a lifetime thing. I don't think that's going to happen again. Giving 4 first-round picks for a guy like that. And you talking about Bogdanovich that's like mid-30s too. So, can you sell this dude high to like New York Knicks or within your own division, like the Pacers, for example, or Clippers, Lakers maybe, or something like that. So I got the Pistons at 5. They got to make some growth for some of the young guys. 4, I got the Chicago Bulls. Here's my thing with Chicago. A couple years ago, they were riding high. They signed DeRozan, got Lonzo in the fold, got signed Caruso. You already had Levine there. You were riding high. DeRozan looked like a top 5 MVP candidate. You were riding high. And then the second half of that season, the injuries happened, all that stuff. And you look at this team, and you fast forward and look at this team. Levine has some injuries to him. Lonzo, he might not play this year. So just look at this team, and then in all season, you kind of doubled down this roster that kind of took a step backwards last year. You gave Vooch a lot of money, in which his play clearly has declined. You gave Kobe White an extension, in which you never seem to be all in on him. And then you give Javon Carter a pretty decent contract for a backup guard. So you tied a lot of money in that point guard spot for what? I don't know. It's bad enough that Lonzo is going to be out with time and you pay him his money. But kind of pour over $100 million in those 3 players is really, really suspect in my eyes. DeRozan is not getting any younger. Levine, I mean, he's good, but he's not carrying you to a title. Patrick Williams is out of position. And we kind of talked about this on Adam Karnick's show a while back, D-Lock. Me, Adam, and the Cognac Boys. Shout out to them. I forgot which host it was, but they brought to the point like Patrick Williams being out of position and all that stuff. And really not really great for his game. I agree with that. And they still trotting him out at that stretch 4 position. And it's not really helping out his development and not helping out this team's rotation. And then you look at the bench. They got no capable 4s. That's why I'm kind of surprised they ain't make a more strong play for Christian Wood, for example. Other 4s out there. Jordan Yinye, the Jane out there. Make a trade for Obi Toppin, who's just had for like a 2nd round pick. Something to kind of, if you're trying to compete, you gotta work on your roster better. And I look at this roster, they ain't really get no better. I think this team is like they borderline play-in. We talked about, in this series, the previous series. I think the Orlando Magic is probably a better team than them. The Hawks. The Raptors, they kind of in the same boat with the Bulls. Fringe playoff team, playing team. Celtics, the Nets in the same boat. So think about this. The Nets, Bulls, Raptors or kind of those fringe teams, the playing teams that be competing for the same spot. That's who the Bulls are with. And I think the Bulls are the worst out of those three teams. At least with the Raptors, you got a promising young star in Scotty Barnes. With the Nets, Mikal Bridges really stepped up this game, and I think he could be a great two-way player in this league. And I'm not trying to shit on DeRozan, Levine, and all that stuff, but guys, we saw y'all last year. No progress made. Now, if things could change, they can get hot again, like a couple years ago. We could be singing a different tune, but I just think there's too many other teams that are better than them. And they kind of depend on the same guys to trying to get into the playoffs, in which they didn't get into the playoffs last year. So I got them at 4. And if they don't make the playoffs again this year, and I'm talking about the actual playoff series, then the rebuild's got to start sometime soon. Only problem is that you gave a lot of bad contracts to a lot of dudes. So they're kind of stuck right now. But I got the Bulls at number 4. Number 3, I got the Indiana Pacers. At one point last year, ladies and gentlemen, they're around a 7-8 speed, 8 seed for a good couple months. And then, I think the youth kind of kicked in and other teams had to step up to play, and they kind of fell down. They re-signed Tyrese Haliburton to a big-time extension. They got Bruce Brown in free agency, who a lot of us didn't see coming. It was either him going back to the Nuggets or him maybe going to the Lakers in some scenario. But Pacers getting him, very solid move. Get Obi Toppin for a second-round pick. You kind of shore up that 4 spot there. I know they drafted the kid from UCF. No, not the kid from UCF. The kid from Houston, George Walker, who I really like and could develop the good stretch for in this league. And he got the size to do it. I think it's going to be at least a good couple of years till you see real competitions for him. I'll get my words out correctly. But right now, I think Obi Toppin is a good placeholder. And plus, I think Obi Toppin got at least something to prove, with this squad. And then center at, Miles Turner. I think he can, D-Lock, I think he can focus on playing in Indiana now. Because the past couple of years, he's been in trade rumors to the Lakers or whoever else for the longest. Now they gave him an extension. I think now, get folks to be the center for the Pacers. Benedict Mathurin, who I really liked, really showed his scoring and stuff throughout the year. If he could take that next leap, I think, and that's why I'm kind of banking on them this year, like him taking that scoring leap to be a 20-point scorer in this league and kind of getting this team sneaking into the playoffs. I think this team's a playoff team. Bruce Brown really came around this past couple of years in Denver. He's bringing that championship pedigree to the Pacers. Haliburton really, really coming to his own. Mathurin's coming to his own. The Buddy Hield thing. I think he'd be great off the bench, But I think you kind of had to move on. You had to move on for him because it's just like, well, Miles Turner, but he's been in the trade talks for so long. You got to do something with him. So, but I got the Pacers as a playoff team. Now, could they not make it? Hey, true. Hey, sure. They probably can't go their way. You know, the young guys I think I just named don't step up and you know, they win by 30 games. But if that backcourt come in each day and score at will and all that stuff, Topton can run the floor, play good defense, you know, finish, you know, down low and all that stuff, work on continue to expand this all-star game, I think this team could do some damage. So I got the Pacers number 3. Number 2, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I got a lineup of Garland, Donovan Mitchell. I got LeVert at the 3, but you know that could change with Strus or Okoro over there. Mobley at the 4, and Allen at the 5. This team had a disappointing playoff run. They just went out like a bunch of chumps against the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson had his way down low against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And you thought going to that series that with those two down low, you can get Mitchell Robinson in foul trouble, take him out the game. And now you forcing, you know, Isaiah Hartenstein to play down low. You forcing Thibodeau to play top and down low. If you get that matchup, that favorable matchup down there in that series, things can go your way. Because Julius Randle ain't gonna play no fucking defense like that. So I thought, you know, that'd be like a favorable matchup for them, but it didn't happen. And they got bounced out very quickly. Like you mentioned, D-Lock, that 3 spot is like a carousel of guys like LeVert, Strus, Okoro. You know, they got to figure that out. Who's going to be there? Who can take the brass ring and, you know, be that guy for them, that third scorer? You prefer it be Mobley, but I think it would be somebody at the 3 spot this year. Jared Allen, is he trade bait? You know, some people kind of question, you know, can Mobley and Allen play, you know, together in the long term? We'll see how the season goes, but you know, could Jared Allen be a trade bait down the line and move Mobley to that center position? I think that's something to keep an eye on. I don't see it happening, but that's something to keep an eye on. You never know in this league. But you know, I think Mitchell, he's got to continue to do his thing. You know, Garland got to do his thing. Got to stay healthy as well. He missed some time from last year. Like you mentioned about Mobley, he's got to take the next step as well. I mean, he's got to be at least a 17-10 guy this year. So if you get that at him, 17, 18, I think they'll go a long way with this team to not be bouncing the first round in the playoffs this upcoming year, but at least make it to the second round. So that's my ceiling for this team, at least a second round playoff run. If they're not making that, then I don't know what's going on. And of course, number 1, I got the Milwaukee Bucks. Trading away Jrue Holiday, probably like a tough decision, but you get Damian Lillard in return. Damian Lillard in the fold, playing probably one of the best players he has probably ever played with in his whole basketball life. And it's going to be like a sight to behold. I do wonder about the health of this team. Giannis had the knee procedure. How is he going to come back from that? Some people ride off like a cleanup, but you know, sometimes those cleanups, you know, they can linger. Middleton, how's his ACL? It's not like he's been dealing with that for the past couple years. How's his knee holding up? But I got a lineup of Dame, Malik Beasley at the 2. And for Malik Beasley, when he got traded to the Lakers, it really didn't go well for him. So he didn't shoot the ball well at all, and they gave him a lot of chances to find himself. So I think if this team is going to win a championship, if he's going to be in the fold, he's got to be consistent on day one, or this team's going to be a lot of trouble throughout the year. I mean, getting Dame will max some of that, but if Beasley's going to be that starting 2, he's got to shoot very well, or play very well for them for this upcoming season. And also, I think for Giannis, I think, hopefully, I know he worked with the Dream in the offseason, but also I hope he works on his outshot shooting as well. You gotta look if you gotta look at this. You gotta watch the wear and tear of your knees. And I think at some point you gotta have at least at that 15-foot jumper to kind of, keep things balanced. I kind of look like, Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, guys in that, got that mid-range jumper that kind of really extended their careers. Now, granted, I think, Duncan already had that mid-range game, Garnett as well, and Nowitzki. But you get my point. I think that mid-range game has got to be more in his arsenal this upcoming year. Not for team success, but for his success down the line to keep playing this league. Hey, it's great, being 7'1", you can like go to the paint as hard as you can on a consistent basis and dare everybody to stop you. Hey, you should do that. And, at that height. But also, you gotta think you can't do that on a consistent basis like that. And especially in an 82-game season plus. So I think, he's got to, think about, expanding his game a little bit in that part. And also, they got a new coach, Adrian Griffin. How is he going to be with this Milwaukee squad? Budenholzer's gone. I think he'll be back somewhere next year. How Adrian Griffin's going to look, coaching this squad. We'll see. And like you alluded to about Giannis. If things don't go right this season, and I got them at least going to the Eastern Conference Finals, if things don't go right this season, does he bounce? Getting Damian Lillard, hey, great move. But hell, you won the championship with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. So I understand trying to, keep up with the Joneses, but if you won a championship with those two guys, who's to say they could get somebody equal or lesser value and you could do it again? But I got the Bucks at least make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like I said, I still got Boston over them. But I at least got the Bucks make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So to recap, I got Detroit 5, Chicago 4, Indiana 3, Cleveland 2, and Milwaukee 1. I'll let you in.
Yeah, that's a good list. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, having the Pacers make that big push. But they got the pieces. It's just the inconsistency of who's going to be there, who's not. The Bulls, as you said, alluded to, Vooch got there and just has not been the same.
Yes.
He's dropped off big time. I'm not saying he was a great player in Orlando, but he damn sure ain't bring what he was when he was in Orlando. So that's going to play a huge part. That's why I was saying, like, you're going to need more from Vooch for this Bulls team to get on the right path. So I'm with you there. But like I said, I also think that this Milwaukee team is better than the team that won that championship. But because of that, the expectations are extremely high. Because now, you got Giannis, Bobby Portis, all these guys, that sending Drew Holiday for somebody like a Dame, you would expect for them to win a championship. They should win this. They should win the division easily. But making that trade, this team has those same expectations that the prior Milwaukee teams had. But now coaching is going to play a huge part as well. But hey, we both got similar thought as far as the Detroit Pistons.
And I think we know. I think everybody knows. I think they're still in rebuild mode. But I just think they got to shock the hell out of a lot of people to make the playoffs. And I just think the way the roster constructed right now, and I think Monty Williams being there, I think it's just not. We're not there yet. They still got to get things figured out. Like I said about Cunningham, can he stay healthy for a good part of the year? Jaden Ivey, can he take a leap? Kelly Haynes been there for a good couple of years. Does he take some type of leap? Thompson, how he gonna look at the 3 spot? Is Monty Williams gonna have him like a Miles Bridges type of role and be like a primary defensive guy and don't let him blossom? And we kind of seem like Miles Bridges, like he went to Brooklyn and boom, he's having like 25 points when you get to Brooklyn. If this kid could be like a 20-point scorer in this league or something like that, then Monty Williams cannot, stifle that. If this kid got potential like that, Monty Williams you gotta let that kid develop. You gotta let him go. So, Isaiah Stewart, I think we know who he is. He's a good player down low. Jalen Duran, I think he's more the key piece to me. I think this guy is very versatile. He's a double guy waiting to happen. Very smooth, very athletic, and he fits in with his modern NBA style. So, me and you in the same boat, but it's like, but hell, just going down the list of players we just named off. Also they got the kid from Houston, the point guard, Hauser, or I think I'll get his name right. I'll get his name here in a second, but the point guard from Houston got him in the fold as well. So there's a lot of young guys on that roster that you got to get figured out.
Yeah, that's why I said you got some guys, so you got to just give them a minute, give them a rhythm, and see what they can do.
Like if I was looking at the situation, this and the Bulls, I'd rather be in the Detroit situation only because I got a lot of young guys I can sniff out. The Bulls I kind of got like a veteran team, but it's a veteran team that's not going anywhere. And I got an ownership that still wants to compete and don't want to do a rebuild. And we talked about in the show in the past. Here in the next couple of years, you got a nice group of young kids coming through the high school ranks and be draft eligible to here down the line. You got college boozers boys coming down the pike. Cooper Flag, like a white boy from Maine, like he's 6'11", but plays above the rim. Got some moxie to him. Can shoot the ball, run up and down the court. Got some flash to him. I was like, damn, he cold. Caleb Holt here in North Alabama. A lot of people talk about him, especially over the summer. He had a really good summer with Team USA and all that. And this kid been 6'6" since 8th grade. And a couple names that escape in my mind, but like you're the Bulls, like you sometimes gotta look down the line. Sometimes you gotta know when to cut bait. You kind of want to get like in a situation. We'll talk about them next week, like with the Clippers, in which Steve Ballmer, yeah, he didn't want to tank and stuff like that. And yeah, you made the playoffs that year when you told Doc Rivers and them not to tank, but now you didn't tank, didn't kind of reset things after Don Sterling, and now you go on in these two veteran players, and now look where you're at now. Yeah, you made the West Conference Finals one time, but one guy you were counting on didn't play for you at all. And now this guy, we don't know what his status is. Same thing we ever saw player Paul George. Don't know what his status is. I mean, yeah, they seem fine, but look where we're at now. And now, you got the new league rule that you can't sit out these guys at the same time for rest purposes. So, this division gonna be tough. The Cavs, I think, they will come out strong. Won't surprise me if they come out strong out the gates. I think you look at this Cavs team like as the top 14. Here's my top 4 teams in the East as I currently look at it right now: Celtics, Bucks, Cavs, and I want to. You know what? I'm going to put the Knicks there right now.
Ooh.
I want to say the Heat, but it's just like you lose Gabe Vincent, you lose Strauss. How are you going to recover from that? Now, if some of y'all seen some of their preseason scores, they seem like they found a couple dudes that come in and play pretty damn well. So, some people joked on Twitter like, they find these dudes from damn Publix and they put in Heat uniforms and they're playing well. No shade to Publix, but you get my point. So if they find dudes like that and they come in dropping 20 on your team, then I'm like, damn, they got a great damn system down there. But that's my 4 right now in the East. Now that could change. The Heat can be in that top 4. The Hawks with Quinn Snyder that can maybe get in that position as well. The Pacers, if they come out strong, I think they could be in the mix. So, but I think this division here, you could potentially see the Cavs and the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. You could see that.
Yeah, I agree there. It could happen.
You know, but I think either one, or if they both want to get there, either one or one of them, you got to probably get past the Boston Celtics. I just think the Boston Celtics getting Drew Holiday, damn, that put them. That's putting them over the hump. And like we talked about, before, in key situations in the playoffs, you got that lead guard there, and you don't and no and I like Marcus Smart, but you don't got like a Marcus Smart. He got to get his shit up just to get his shit up. And like in terms of in pro wrestling today, some guys in the wrestling business still got to get their shit in matches just to get the shit in. That's what Marcus Smart is. If things are going good, he got to get good or bad. He got to get his shit in regardless. But with Holiday, I don't think you don't have to worry about that trying to get his stuff in just because he got to get his stuff in. So, there is that. But the factor of Adrian Griffin with Milwaukee, that's a thing you got to think about and see how that goes. But he's been around the NBA coaching ranks for a while, so I don't think that'd be too much of an issue. I think you also got to think about Joe Mazzulla. How's he going to rebound year 2 with this roster? And that Ime Udoka situation, all that stuff. We talk about for years to come. Like if Celtics don't make it back to the finals or whatever, don't win one with this group, that's the situation we're gonna talk about for years to come. Yeah, Udoka shouldn't did what he did, but if you keeping this lady around on the team and you letting him go, and on top of that, if you kept Udoka in the fold with this group, could y'all win a couple championships with a Tatum and Brown, and then get like a Drew Holiday? So I mean, a lot of questions, in the East.
Yeah, definitely a few. You got those few teams that are at the top that made those big offseason moves. And Celtics and the Bucks clearly are playing chess, with their moves. And those are big, big, big pieces that they move. I think that made them separate themselves from most of the other East teams, to be honest with you.
So that's our listening. That's our list for the Central Division. Next week is the last of our division preview series with the Pacific Division, which is probably up and down. And that's why I think past couple of years we have said them from last, like up and down. This is like the toughest division in the NBA. And we're making it more tougher this year was the surprise last year, the Sacramento Kings. I think me and you did not expect the Kings to play the way they did and make it to the playoffs and almost beating the Golden State Warriors.
No, I definitely did not expect that at all.
But I know you were higher on them than me going to last season. But, going to, just looking at next week's previews, like this division right here is tough. I haven't started the notes on that. I'm like, damn, who am I gonna put at 5 here?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start looking at mine tonight because that's gonna be very tough to see that.
It's gonna be tough, and I think we're gonna have very different lists next week. Like next week's show is gonna be a good one. Like I'm curious what you're gonna have, and then I'm still trying to figure out mine. Like it's gonna be a tough list next week.
I mean, like I always say, when it comes to talk about when the NFL come around, the NBA, every team we look at, they make their additions, make their moves. And we like, oh, that's a good move. That's a good move. That's a great move. But the thing is, somebody got to be sorry in the league.
Yeah.
In every division, somebody got to be last. So this is something that, it sucks, but everybody in the league can't go 82-0. So some losses, somebody got to be at the top of the list and some going to be at the bottom. And that's why we stuck this one to be one of the last divisions, because of how long it's going to take us to dissect it and put our right order together.
Just like the Atlanta Braves, you win all those games and then you choke like you usually do. But anyways, this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in with us. I appreciate the chat. Thank y'all for keeping us company. Like I said, next week, we're previewing the Central Division in NBA. Our last division preview. Also, we'll go over the WNBA Finals. If that series concludes, we'll talk about that and wrap that up. And all that good jazz. But D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. That is Black, the word dash, 813. Let them know they can find you at the show's page.
You can find the show's page on X/Twitter at FastBreakerIESR. That's FastBreakerIESR. Do follow iSports Radio on all your social media feeds, where it's X/Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Do follow us on there. Do follow iSportsRadio.com for your latest shows, news and feed and news. A lot of shows in the network. A lot of shows on most of the NFL cities. So do tune in to those shows. Miami's cooking. We don't have a New York show at the moment, but they're playing right now. Dallas, Houston, LA, North Cal with the Niners, Chicago, Wisconsin, Cleveland, DC, Philly. So, do tune into iSports Radio. If you love your NFL team, we got you covered. I do have an X/Twitter account, Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Also, I do know a show inside called The Crooks Process. You can follow that show on Instagram and Facebook, and on TikTok as well. Just look at The Crooks Process. You see the CP logo there. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, next week, like I said, the Central Division, WNBA Finals. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.